Okay, then today we will study about section 2 named network programming. Let's start. If you have any question, please chat on the chatting window. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Today we will study about the basic communication theory, and then basic communication theory and client-server model and socket programming. So we will study about few concepts of client-server model and socket programming and communication. There are really many devices, really many wireless devices, and then they communicate each others. Then even if we have some machine which can communicate each devices, then in this course we will study about some principles and architecture how to communicate each machine without wire. So, and then in the exercise class and lab material class, we will do some mini project about our title. I will leave you some brief concept in the pre-session. First, how far is Korea from Ghana? Amazingly, we are 20,794 kilometers far away. So we have really long distance. So how can we communicate even if we have really far distance without wire? Because because of communication theory. And then internet is a global network system with the internet protocol suite. I will explain what is protocol and what is network. First, protocol is rule for network communication. Look at the data too. There are some few pieces of words. Hello, how are you? And if we don't have any rule, we don't have any rule. We don't know how to read from up to down or from down to up. We don't know. Without any rule, we don't read this exactly. Like this rule is we call it protocol, a rule in the networking. Some rules in networking. So if there's no rule, we can communicate exactly. And then there are many protocol types like TCP, IP, and UCP. It is just a name of protocol type. And then, but protocol must be selected according to its purpose of devices. For example, TCP only transfers without data loss more slowly. However, UDP has a data loss only, but it transmits rapidly. So So we will see some example. For example, if you think about some chatting application like WhatsApp or Telegram, you must not lose a message. So in this case, we use TCP. And then the another example for when you think about some streaming sites like YouTube or Twitch, then the amount of data is really big for the video. So, but maybe it will be fine to have some damage to our quality of video. So in the streaming, this is why we use UDP, because UDP has no data loss, but it transmits rapidly. So and then we will study about basic elements of communication, IP addresses. IP address is the same as the address of the device and network that we use. We will use. For example, about 32-bit devices, the example of ID addresses will be IP addresses will be like this. When 128-bit will be longer than 32-bit devices. Then can we need IP addresses only for the communication? Maybe definitely not, because there can be more than one devices with the same IP address. That's why we need a port. Port is a channel that connect two devices to each devices, even if only device have the same IP address, but they use different ports, so we can distinguish each devices with different port. This is why we need port. Like this figure, there will be so many devices, and they can have same IP addresses, but we must distinguish each devices. So the server give them individual port channel, so we can distinguish each devices in the communication. Like this, first devices gave port 80, and then second devices gave port 465. Then even if they have same IP address, we can distinguish these two devices. So we know the IP address and port number and protocol, but let's have some basic architecture to communicate using these ingredients. The name is called client server model. It is one of the communication architecture. First, let me explain for a few concepts for client server model. The client is the device which need to be serviced. The server is subjective, which providing service to client. And then the server is subjective, which providing service to client, and then service cannot be only just sending but also receiving. This will be a example figure. can you see the Google? We send the cute cat pictures is a example about example of service. So Google can give us this cute cat figure. This is from service. Among the client server models, I will explain TCP. It is one of the client server model theory. First, I will explain a brief. I will explain a brief process about client server model. Step 1 is called listen. It is a step the TCP server declare to the client being ready to get service. And then connect is client ask TCP server to give a service. And step 3, the client the server accept the allow the connection signal, and then reply. And step 4 is send or receive the data. This is a kind of service. And then step 5, the close the connection. This is the end of connection process of TCP. So we will study about socket programming. It's a kind of TCP tool. And then I will explain some few concepts of socket and corresponding to TCP process. Socket contains IP address, port number, and protocol. Socket is like a structural class which have IP address and port number protocol. So we can do socket programming in Python. So we will do socket programming in the exercises and lab session class. I will briefly explain the socket programming process. First, socket function is we must declare the socket function, and then bind function gives IP address, port number, and protocol to the socket. And then list function gives IP. Listen function declares that server is ready to receive. And then the connect function of the client is to require access to the server. And the accept function allow this connection to the server, and then to the client. And then send function and receive function is a kind of service function. It can be one or both. And then close function declare the closing this communication process. So in the exercise session and lab session, we will write out some codes for socket programming. Okay, this is the end of the review of this is the end of review of pre-class session, and then next time and then just after this we will do have a exercise class. Please wait a minute. Jongmin will come here.
Okay. Hello guys. I'm Jongmin, and let's solve the exercise problems together. So this is the exercise problems. Before we start, let's figure out your IP address. You can open CMD if you're using Windows, or Terminal if you're using Linux-based operating systems, and then type ipconfig or ifconfig. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so this is the CMD. You can search CMD in your computer, and you will see this screen, and type ipconfig, and you may see something called IPv4 address. And this is the IP address of your current location. Okay, now let's solve the problems. This first problem is solved in the pre-lab class video, so I will skip it. But if you have any questions about it, you can ask it now or anytime. Please feel free to ask. Okay, then now let's solve the second problem, which is downloading file. Okay, so I'll make a PyCharm project. Please wait a second. Okay. I made a project. And let's make the server first. So I'll create a Python file named server. Okay, so first of all, we should import the server library in order to use the functions of the server. So we imported the server library. And before we handle something about server, let's open the file first. Okay. Okay, so I'll review again. If it's too fast, please tell me. Yeah, I made a typo. It's socket. Okay, so in this project, the server should provide a file. So you can open a file like this. You can use the open function. And here you type the name of the file you're going to open. Let's say, oh, okay. You mean creating a project? Okay. Okay, so I'll create a new project. So when you open the PyCharm, you will see this screen. On the left top side, you'll see File, and you click New Project, and then you make a project. Okay, so again, yeah, you turn on PyCharm, you click the file, New Project, and write the name of the project. Let's say, for example, file download. And select the interpreter version is either Python 3.7 and click create. Okay, now the project is almost created. Is everyone following what I'm doing? If it's too fast or you missed something, don't hesitate and please tell me. Okay, so now we made a project. This section shows your current location. So this line shows the current location of your project. And inside your project, you make files. You right click here, make Python file, and give a name. We will make two files. One is server and one is client. So let's make server first. Okay, so now we created a file. In this file, we will write code for the server. Is everyone okay with here? Okay until this part? Oh, you're still creating virtual environment? Okay. Okay, I'll show you again. So you click PyCharm and you will see this kind of screen or empty here or anyway, that doesn't matter. File, new project, and write a name. Yes, and so you mean that your computer is still running? Yes. Papa? Just still creating virtual environment. So maybe it will be it's done. Okay, okay. So everyone made their project. Okay, I guess so. So then you should create the file, Python file in your project. So, oh, I made a mistake. Right click, view, Python file, server. Yeah. Okay, now I make the code. So we're using the socket. So you import the socket library. And before handling sockets, let's open the file first. let's make the file first. You can make files that are not even Python files in your project. So you can make a text file, for example, input.txt. You created a file in your project. So this is the text that server will provide to the client. The client will download this file. Let's say this is the content of the file. So then we should open the file. You can open the file like this. You can use open function, and it has two parameters. The first one is name of the file, which is input.txt. And the second one, we will write RB. This determines how we will open it. We can open the file and read what's in it, or we can write something, or we can replace it, we can append. So we will write RB. It means read as binary. So we are reading the file. So we opened it. So now we should read it. This read function returns the content as a sequence of characters. Okay, now we will select the IP address and the port number. We are using loopback IP address, which is 127.0.0.1. This IP address will be used to determine which client we're going to connect. If you leave it as empty, then any client can access. Any client can connect to this server if you leave the IP address as empty. And we are using loopback IP address. And select the port number. You can use any number between 1024 to 665,535 or something like that. Let's say we have our port number is 9999. Now we create a socket. So we are using the IPv4 address. This is an IPv4 address. So we write, this means that we are using IPv4 address. If you're using IPv6 address, then you write like this, but we're not using it. And we are using TCP, not UDP. For TCP, we should write like this. Okay, so we just made a socket. Is everyone okay? You guys caught up? Okay, thank you. So after making a socket, since it's a server, we should make it as reusable. So we should set the socket options. This enables the server to be reusable. Otherwise, it may not be able to use again right, once after the server is connected. Okay, then you remember this process? Yeah, we're following this process. So we made the socket. So after that, we bind the socket to the server, and then we listen. We're waiting for the client. After, and then the client requests a connection. We connect with the client, and then we send or receive data. We'll do that. Okay, so we use bind function, and the bind function has one parameter. It's the information of the client, the IP address and the port number. And please be careful that this is not two parameters. It's one parameter, which is a tuple that contains two data. Okay. After that, we use listen function. Now the server socket is ready for a potential client. It's waiting for a client. And when a client requests a connection, we can accept it by accept function. It returns a tuple that contains two values, which are the client socket and the address of the client. So okay, so now we made a connection, and then we should provide the data to the client. The client wants download, so we should send the file that the client wants to download. This file data is what the client wants. We will send it. Okay, so now the job of the server is finished. And every time when you open a file, you should close it when you're finished using it. Otherwise, it may cause some mistakes. Well, actually, the files are automatically closed when the program is terminated, but it is better to close the file. Okay, so this is This is finished. This is the code for the server. Okay, I will review. So we open the file, and we created a socket for the server, and we made it reusable. And then we binded the socket to the server. Yes, after binding the socket, we listen. We're waiting for a potential client. And when a client requests connection, we accept it. And we get the information of the client. We can know who the client is. We get the client socket and the IP address of the client. Anyway, now we know who the client is, so we can send file data to the client. we use send function to send the data. And then now the job of the socket is finished, so we close the file. This file means the input file, something that will be downloaded. For example, this. Okay. Did everyone understand? If you have questions, you can ask anytime. Okay. Then now let's make a client. Just like we did in making server, we should import socket library. In this case, we are using the loopback IP address. If you use this, it means that you're going to connect with yourself. And in case of server, you can leave it as empty. Then any client can connect to the server, or otherwise, and also you will connect to your own the client in your own computer, right? So the server and client will have the same IP address, which is your own IP address. You can write it. Yeah, any of them are okay. Okay, you're welcome. So we set the IP address. We will use the loopback address again. And the port number, it must be the same port number used here. Okay, so I'll explain a little bit more after I finish the code about IP address. Let's make the circuit first. You remember what this means? What this means? So yeah, we make a socket that uses IPv4 address type and TCP. In here, we can now just connect. This connect function also has only one parameter, just a parameter, just like bind function we used in socket. This is a tuple. The connect function has one parameter. It's not two parameters. So you should be careful that you do not miss this parenthesis here. This will cause an error. Okay, now the client, the job of the client is simple. It just connects to the server and receives the data. So we should write like let's say just 1024. That's enough for this short file. Okay, now we receive the data. So we should write it in a file. If you just print it, then it will be on your console, but that's not what we want. We want to write it. Yeah, we want to write it in a file. Let's say like output, txt. And here we write W. Guess what it means? Can you guess? Here it was read as binary. Here W means write. We're gonna write. So we'll write this received data. But you cannot write just like this. You should decode it. Yeah, and yeah, that's all. It's finished. Okay, now let's check whether it works. So we run the server first, and then we run the client. Okay, now you see here we have a new file, output txt. It is just created. I didn't make it explicitly like this. It is just created by this statement. Let's check what's inside here. If I did correctly, then it will contain the same data in input file because I just wrote what I downloaded from the server. Oh, okay. So everything was fine. It contains same data as input file. Okay, so that's all. And I explain a little bit more about IP address. So here we use loopback address, but you can use your own IP address. For example, my IP address is this is my IP address. So in this case, the server and client has the same IP address, which is this. Yeah, so if I write this, it is also fine. You can leave it empty or write like this. If you write like this, you can, the server can be connected only by this client with this IP, but on your own computer. But if you leave it as empty, any other client with other IP address may access. Okay, that's all. If you have any questions, please let me know on your chat, or you can ask on your mic. Okay, then we'll have a 5-minute break time. Please come back until 8:05. Thank you.